They say peace is the most valuable thing a man can own. If that's true, I was filthy rich before the Cypress Trails crowd came along and tried to steal every last ounce of it. You want to know what war looks like in Texas? I'll show you, and let me tell you, it's got less to do with barbed wire and more to do with lies, lawyers, and a whole lot of audacity. I'm Trey Randall, and I run 320 acres of legacy just outside Boerne, Texas. Used to be my closest neighbor was a mile off, and the only drama came from ornery cattle or an occasional coyote sniffing around the fence line. Those were the days, let me tell you. I spent 20 years chasing down financial crooks, chasing white-collar thieves through forensic mazes, so when I finally bought this spread, I thought I was buying peace. Big skies, good cattle, drones in the air, and not a single human headache for miles. At least, not until someone dropped a subdivision right up against my southern fence. One morning, just as the sun was burning off the mist, I found a glossy HOA newsletter jammed in my gate. Smiling families, promises of elite living, and a map with a big green splotch labeled Heritage Meadow, community walking access. Problem was that meadow was my pasture, my land, my cows, and a fence line that's been mapped and registered since 1874. At first, I figured it was a printing mistake. Marketing goof. So I shrugged it off until the sheriffs rolled in like I'd set fire to the town square. There I was checking on a limping yearling with my drone remote in one hand, and two cruisers come barreling up the drive, deputies stepping out, hands on their belts. Sir, hands where I can see them. Now that'll jolt your heart before your coffee kicks in. Turns out, some concerned resident called in an armed man behaving aggressively at the trailhead. Trailhead, my land. I offered them everything: ID, concealed carry permit, deed, GPS overlays, drone footage, even a land grant with a state seal, so old it smelled like history itself. We walked the southern fence line together, me, the deputies, and my drone humming overhead, showing them every GPS tag and concrete post my granddad poured back when disco was king. They saw the truth, shook my hand, and left. But I knew. I just stepped onto a chessboard, and Karen, every HOA's got one, was moving her pawns. 2 days later, the sheriffs were back. Anonymous complaint said you're building a barrier on HOA land, brandishing firearms, cussing at children. Right then, I heard heels clicking on gravel. It's her Karen Cortortney, the platinum blonde, clipboard-wielding president of Cypress Trails, sunglasses so big you could see your future in them. Cease and desist, she barked. That fence blocks community access to green space. Lady, I told her this is cow country, not your yoga studio. She tried to sweet-talk the deputies, claimed I'd threatened her, said she was verbally accosted, that I'd flashed a weapon. But my drone's live footage was rolling, and her call, caught on my audio, painted her real story. False 911 call is a criminal offense, ma'am, Deputy Granger said. We're going to need you to come in for questioning. Karen sputtered, called herself the president, like it gave her a badge. I realized, right then, this wasn't a mistake. It was strategy. Paint the map, rewrite history, hope I'd blink. But I spent my career catching people like her. That night, I stitched together the drone footage, GPS overlays, and deed scans, put it all online on a brand new YouTube channel. Know your boundary. Did it help? By the next week, the video went viral. Comments from ranchers, lawyers, and more than a few you just described my nightmare. But it only made Karen double down. That's the thing about people like her. The louder you prove them wrong, the quieter they start plotting. Sure enough, a week later, I get a certified letter from the county zoning office, an HOA complaint with a map proving a public trail runs through my land, dating back to 1971. Even added a bench icon, claimed my livestock were endangering joggers. I could have laughed, but instead I took every document, deeds, land patents, the 1982 county record when my granddad paid for the fence in exchange for terminating the easement, straight to the county clerk. Georgia, the zoning clerk, barely looked at the HOA's paperwork before thumbing through her old logbook. Trail decommissioned at request of J. Randall. County relinquished easement. She looked at me and smiled, like she'd seen every scam under the sun. I don't know what Cypress Trails thinks they're doing, but it's not going to work. I left with notarized copies and uploaded a new video, side by side, their map versus my documentation. But the war kept escalating. Karen cranked up the propaganda. Community mailers, posts calling me a hostile tenant, warning residents about armed individuals. That word, tenant, burned. They weren't just trying to steal my land. They were trying to erase me from it. Then my beef distributor called. We got to pause our orders. Legal uncertainty, board's nervous. I thanked him, hung up, and stared at my herd. Karen wasn't after the land. She was trying to starve me out, ruin my business, leave me too weak to fight. But you don't beat a liar with noise. You bury them in the truth. I filed every record, every affidavit, every drone shot, and pushed the county to investigate HOA tampering with public records. Gloves off now. And then came the twist. One night, my drones caught 3 men sneaking through the south field, filming a stage harassment video. One wore a reflective vest with a homemade HOA logo. Another carried a mic. The third gave directions. Pretend you're scared. Say he threatened you. I locked down the gates, called the sheriffs, and when they arrived, played back the whole sorry rehearsal. Deputies hauled them in for trespassing, conspiracy to falsify evidence. And, as Granger put it, that's the only smart thing you did tonight since they hadn't filed the report yet. I posted that video too. 500,000 views overnight. Suddenly, journalists were calling, lawyers offering help, HOA horror stories pouring in from all over. I launched KnowYoYoBoundary.org, invited folks to share their stories. Within days, I had hundreds. It wasn't just me. It was everyone who'd been steamrolled by made-up rules and power-hungry neighbors. Meanwhile, my own fight went nuclear. With my attorney, Colin, a civil rights bulldog with a taste for hard cases, we filed a $2.7 million suit. Trespass, defamation, business interference, fraudulent misrepresentation, you name it. Every time Karen issued a statement accusing me of destabilizing the community, I dropped another video. Drone footage, police reports, sworn statements. The press caught on, land rights groups weighed in, and even the local news turned up for interviews, with Ma, my favorite Longhorn, photobombing every shot. Then Karen slipped. At a board meeting, hot mic still on, she said, maybe he'd be more cooperative if we offered to buy that pasture. That's when I set my own trap, listed a tiny, useless strip of land for sale to HOA members only. Terms so strict, all they'd own was a patch of dirt they had to mow and could never use. They bought it, celebrated, then got the usage covenant in the mail. No structures, livestock access, must maintain rotational grazing. They'd paid for cow pasture and now had to file soil logs with the state. Court day came, and Karen arrived in her power suit, trying to turn the courtroom into a stage. But evidence is a stubborn thing. Emails, fake maps, recorded calls, even the sheriff's deputies testifying how she'd staged the whole harassment circus. The judge wasn't impressed. Our exhibits were a mountain, drone videos, county records, even the HOA's own meeting notes about blurring the borders and winning public perception. Colin delivered the punchline. The HOA now owns a patch of pasture with mandatory manure obligations. The verdict? In my favor. Full damages, legal fees, criminal referrals for Karen and her cronies. Then it all unraveled. Turns out, Karen bribed a county junior official to falsify maps, a job, rewarded, with a seat on a board that didn't exist. The official was arrested. The HOA's secretary flipped, handed over meeting recordings. Say your kids played there. Make it emotional. Suddenly, prosecutors had more than a case. They had a script. Karen was charged with fraud, perjury, conspiracy. When she was led away in cuffs, stumbling on those designer heels, I swear the shackles made the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. The fallout was quick and deep. The HOA dissolved, board members resigned or skipped town, every lot title updated to remove their restrictions. My land was confirmed, sovereign and whole, my rights restored, my story spreading everywhere from law schools to landowner forums. People reached out, ranchers, retirees, even veterans fighting their own battles with power-drunk HOAs. And here's the lesson, the thing that still keeps me up some nights. It's not just about land or fences or property lines. It's about how quickly the truth can get buried beneath paperwork, gossip, and a neighbor's hunger for control. Sometimes justice is slow, and sometimes it sounds like a gavel dropping while the person who tried to steal your peace is walked out in front of the whole world. The land healed. So did the town. Even the banker who once hesitated to lend now calls me Mr. Randall. I started teaching others how to fight back, launched a course, testified for a new state law, watched as the rules changed because of what we went through. As for Karen, last I heard, she's doing paperwork at the county office, stamping forms for land use. No board positions allowed. And me? I'm still here, boots on red Texas dirt, sign out front that says, "Welcome to Randall Acres, where the boundary holds." So here's my question. Where do you draw your line? When someone with a badge or a clipboard tries to tell you your life is theirs to redraw, what do? Drop your story in the comments. Ever had to fight for your land, your peace, your name? I want to hear it, and I know I'm not the only one.